Come with me, and you'll be in a world, oh no, of pure imagination. Bum, bum, bum. This is it. A world of pure imagination, the Lift the Veil show. How's everybody doing? I haven't seen you for a while. The days are getting longer. Sunset is at 4:57 p.m. And don't even try to geolocate me. I've already been doxxed. Hey, what's up? Did you guys do something good for the holidays? Good seeing you back. Holidays were good. They were quiet. Did some simple things. Like going out to dinner. I prefer to have somebody else with food. That's familiar. How you been? Where are you going? I wonder what people think of the intros to the show while we get people tuned in. I think it's better than having the board. Gonna check in with people. Hey, Cadence Films. Hey, Pirate X Pirate. Hey, Jim. Be More Busker. What's up? Hey, Blue Fly. Hey, everybody's here. Oh, sound problems? Really? Okay, hold on. I'll stop the music. You tell me. I can't hear myself the way I'm set up anymore. I can't hear what's coming through the microphone, but it appears to be okay. You tell me. Okay, good. Good. I'm getting the okay. Okay. Maybe I'll play that music again because it helps me think. Did anyone have a really terrible Christmas? Was it awful for anyone? People don't want to say it if they did, you know. They don't want to say, oh, I was sad and lonely. And my family only text messaged me. That's what happens nowadays. But no, I'm not saying that's what mine was. I got to see my remaining family, part of it at least, in person for an actual meal, where only one person complained. So that's fair, right? For a holiday, for Christmas. I might get presents. Maybe later. Got some presents for Katie, but I never can live up to expectations. You guys have trouble giving females gifts? They always want you to think it up yourself. Like you have to read their mind. But they're like, I told you. Remember when we were in that store and I said, oh, this looks really nice? I'm like, maybe. It was probably at like Pottery Barn or something. It was probably expensive. Very difficult. Gift giving for people who like to get gifts. And like if it's a part of their love language, right? You guys learned about love language? Yeah, so some people, their love language is like physical affection frequently, which is harder for autistic people. Oh, I don't even know if I identify as autistic anymore. I'm so much crazier than that. Well, I'm off the meds. Thanks, Prague. No, it was good though. Holidays are good. It's good to get some time off from my job. I have clips today. There's a new movie coming out. It's winning all kinds of awards. You have to tell me if you think it's anti-woke. It's about a black author, and I'll show you as much as I can, I think, of the preview without getting a strike. The trailer, I should say. The Branch. Yeah, actually, The Branch, it's you that told me how to do the love language thing. And I came across as kind of autistic, I think, because I said physical affection isn't the most important thing. It's important when you receive a gift to be thankful for it. I didn't learn that growing up. My mom, if I gave her something she didn't like, she'd be like, what is this? I remember when I was in college, we painted some stuff at Color Me Mine. Is that what it was called? So I had a girlfriend who worked there. I got like a salt and pepper shaker shaped like a cat or something and painted it. My mom was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, I don't know. So I learned that about gift giving. So maybe that's why I'm maybe not as good as I should be. I don't know. This is a deep dive. Hey, Surtown, what's up? Say I'm looking good. I was looking at the top of my head. There's a lot of skin you can see through there. I tried taking anti-aging drugs. I'm out of the bottle I got ran out though, and I didn't want to. Well, I don't have money really, so I didn't want to order a new bottle. But maybe I should. Berberine. Supposedly it reverses aging. Something to extend life or something. I have to look into it. I have to look into it more. But I heard it from a reputable source that it extends life. So here we are extending time together. What are we in? An egregore of positive thought and just wild, crazy ideas. Okay, remember the sale at our store. Now that people are tuned in, you can tell me. Let me see if I saw anybody say they had a really terrible Christmas. Hey, Just Andy. Haven't watched the show in 5 years. What's the last thing you remember? Let me see if I can ask you. You haven't watched the channel in 5 years. Let's see. 5 years. Let me see if I can reply to that. Where is it? Oh, it's not even showing up here. That's weird. Oh, there it is. Just Andy. There it is. How do I reply? Because we can do a flashback on this show. Oh, Just Andy says berberine is not good. Okay, that's fair. I just told my brother about it because he's older than I am, and he says he's looking old. I was like, oh yeah, there's this thing called berberine. They say it's good. So that's good. Thanks, Just Andy. Remember, there's a sale at our store still. truthclothing.io. Put in Mary25 to get a discount, to get a big discount. You can guess how much. I don't even tell you. Mary25. Code at checkout. And you can get off of almost everything, except the stuff that's already on sale. All right, let's do the intro. Good talking to you guys. Good seeing you. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes. People are arguing about berberine, and Nakfugget mentions adrenochrome, which is a real thing. Just look at Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's what they took, was straight shot from the adrenaline gland. Adrenochrome, yeah, that's why they scare people before they sacrifice them. So the blood, well, if they're going to drink the blood, because then the blood fills with adrenaline. And it happens in satanic rituals too. God, have I heard some stories? Boy, I'll tell you. Have I heard stories? I've had people call me to tell me about stories which you might have heard, but you might not have. Man, they're scary. So Alexander the Great took berberine, but he only lived to be 32. So you're saying it's good, though. William says berberine is good. Just Andy says it's a temporary fix for worse problems later on. Oh, I like how people are arguing about this. Yeah, we're dropping. I can't do medical misinformation. So I'd have to say consult your doctor and stuff. I wonder, God, the rules are so messed up. And they hit me with strikes when I have no idea why. So I just want to say, consult your physician or what have you. I'm not making any guarantees. I thought about living forever. That was one of the trips I was on this summer, is actually living forever. And it's so frightening because you're always a little, yeah, you're having like, life is not always a positive experience. So if it goes on forever, you have to think about dealing with that, like life forever, which people don't even understand the nature of infinity. So I explored it quite a bit in my mind. And it was frightening. It's like, what do you want? Like the fact that there's an expiration date gives you purpose. Actually, like once you think about living forever, you're like, oh my God, I might as well die right away. That's possible. You could think that. I'd be like, oh God, if I'm going to do forever, I don't want to do it as a human being. That's the last thing I would want to do. Human beings have to suffer. Why? Why do they make us suffer? I don't know. Yeah, Cadence Film says life would get boring. Yeah, it's because of the whole time thing. But time isn't real. And we are eternal souls. We just get recycled, apparently. This is some kind of recycling planet. There are people who will tell you don't go into the light when you're almost dead, and you're going into the light, and you see people you love, and they're reaching out their hands to you. Oh, look at these. Nice. You say, no. Do not go into the light, because you'll just get recycled. You just forget everything. That's what sucks. You're like, we've done this before. Damn it. We did it before. It was fine the first time. It's fine the second time, or 10 billionth time. You just can't remember all the other times. So that's what they gave us, the gods or whoever, a capacity to forget, because we have to. Otherwise, we would remember all the terrible things. So how are you doing? How's that for deep thought on a solstice, during the time of rebirth? This is the actual time of rebirth. Every year, the sun dies a few days ago, then reappears. Some say after 3 days. And in the book, the sun died and came back after 3 days. It's my belief that he was alive, actually, when he came back, because he ate and stuff. People touched him. Devotee says, if you ever experienced timelessness, you know forever is not boring. Yes, maybe boring is the wrong word. It's just that it can be filled with suffering. That's all. And you have to think, oh, do I want to suffer forever? Because life isn't perfect. That's a Buddhist thing. Just Andy says, if we could retain our childlike enthusiasm. This is an interesting conversation. I was watching True Detective, and True Detective, the character played by McConaughey, says that time it's a circle. It's a flat circle. Time is a flat circle. I think that's what he said. Time is a flat circle. I believe that's true. Like I don't believe in other dimensions, time does not exist, or time is not linear. It's not that it doesn't exist. That you can exist beyond time. It's possible. All right, check out this movie, see what you think. Thanks for joining me for this show. I appreciate you. If you donate to the show, that's really appreciated. You can do it through super chats, or you can do it at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. And I will read those. And I got some coffees from a little consultation I did. So I appreciate that. I'll read the coffees during the stream. So if you go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, you can donate to the stream, or Cash App $LTV411. You can do too. I'd appreciate it. That'd be cool. Holiday season, and all. Super grateful to be here. All right, let's listen to this. See what you think.
How did you come to write this book?
What really struck me was that too few books were about my people. Where are our stories? Where's our representation?
Would you give us the pleasure of reading an excerpt?
Yo, Sharonda, girl, you be pregnant again? If I is, Ray Ray is gonna be a real father this time around. Thank you.
Monk, your books are good, but they're not popular. Editors, they want a black book.
They have a black book. I'm black, and it's my book.
You know what I mean.
Look at what they publish. Look at what they expect us to write. I just want to rub their noses in it.
I be standing outside in the night.
Deadbeat dads, rappers, crack. You said you wanted black stuff. That's black, right?
I see what you're doing.
Okay, that's 1 minute and 6 seconds. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. It's owned by MGM. So that's the movie. Basically, the guy writes a book as a joke that's super, quote unquote, black, and everybody eats it up. It becomes like, so I don't even know for sure if it's anti-woke or if it is making fun. It is making fun. I mean, to be honest, it's making fun of white people, but it's also making fun of black people. So, don't know. Apparently it's won all kinds of awards already, and it's out. It's going to be out in some kind of limited release, so it can win an Oscar, I'm guessing. Jeffrey Wright is in the movie. He's the guy. He was in the AI TV show Westworld. He was the doctor in Westworld. So it looks like it could be a good movie, as a matter of fact. Along with that movie, Civil War, I thought that one actually looked okay too, in as much as they're pre-programming us. So that's the so you guys have to decide whether it's anti-racist or what have you. But that's a race relation exploratory film. But we've had those forever. Remember Beverly Hills Cop? Remember all those action movies where it'd be a white cop and a black cop? That was like that was a thing forever. We've always talked about race. Go back to Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was hilarious. He talked about race. He made fun of white people, black people. So maybe we're getting out there to be able to talk about things that we weren't able to talk about before. You guys decide. So 6 people tuned in. Good number.
And Merry Christmas too.
Did you see? So this is Tucker had on Kevin Spacey as his character, Frank Underwood. You want to see a clip from it? It was just weird. At one point, Kevin Spacey says it's hard to tell what's real or not real anymore. Yeah, Lethal Weapon. Yeah, right, exactly. There's Lethal Weapon. That was epic. So I don't know. That's why I say it's like our capacity to forget. We forget that they used to talk about race relations in movies. But that one looks interesting. So anyway, this was a clip of the Kevin Spacey thing. I don't want to play you the whole thing. That's all. So I'll play you a clip.
And Merry Christmas to you too. But I've always believed that nothing should be off the table in life or in art. I think we could both agree that we need to get some adults back in the room. So if that means taking on the chief executive role, well, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for this great nation.
Adults in the room. I love it. I can see there's a bumper sticker. Is that your campaign slogan?
Well, that's not a bad idea. Look, I think first our country needs to stop apologizing and stiffen up. I mean, look, we've got so many people running around with so many different issues like gun control, important issue. But let's be honest. The truth is, More people are killed by online trolls every day.
That may be
It's a
true, actually,
joke.
but then they're protected by the First Amendment. They can say whatever they want. You believe in the First Amendment, I assume.
Of course I do. Look, people spewing ridiculous ideas is nothing new, and they should always have that right. But the problem is, somewhere along the way, we started listening. And we should remember the salient words of Benjamin Franklin, who said, "Do not believe anything of what you hear and only half of what you see." And he wasn't telling people to stop talking. He was
Okay, so there you go. I think he was about to say he's telling people to stop listening. He said more people are killed by online trolls than guns. It's funny when there's no studio there, you don't know whether it's supposed to be funny or not. Nobody's laughing the whole time. Tucker's taking it seriously. Nuck Fugget says whatever this interview is supposed to be, not funny but strange and creepy. 4 out of 5 of Kevin Spacey's accusers died. I believe that number may be accurate. A number of his accusers died, but he got off. I believe he totally got off. And so people were theorizing, why did Tucker do this? So Tucker Carlson's producer, and several people say it's fake. Several people say it's fake. I don't believe it's fake because I've seen AI. I've done a lot of research into AI. I mean, a lot of research. I look at all kinds of AI developments and the latest in software and editing and so forth. And the latest in editing can't do a full live action interview the way this one appears. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot down that theory and say, no, it's definitely not AI. But it is funny for people to say that they think it's a deep fake. The deep fakes aren't this good yet. That's all. To do a long form video, deep fakes just aren't good enough. So, maybe Hollywood studios with the most advanced technology can do things that we still haven't seen yet, because most of what you see on Twitter so far is people just playing around with whatever software has come out for the masses. It's possible that there's AI that's more advanced that we don't know about, that's making special effects and things for movies, but I'm not really sure. I'm interested in knowing. You can definitely do a lot of stuff with it, though. You can definitely do a lot of stuff with it. So people were speculating why it happened. Well, Kevin Spacey has lots of charges, of assaulting young men. I think they may have all been of legal age because some of it was in the UK where the age of consent is 16. Which, by the way, Prince Andrew also was accused of having sex with the victim when she was 17, which would have also been legal if she wasn't trafficked in that country. So just remember that the age of consent isn't the same everywhere. And he was accused of some things that happened in England or in the UK, and he got off so far. Maybe he's off for good. I haven't even followed it super closely, but maybe he's off everything. Anyway, Tucker Carlson's producer has been accused of sexual assault and harassment, also against gay people. I don't know what the specific charges are, but it was something that happened more than a decade ago. Here, I can show you the article. Tucker Carlson's former top producer at Fox News accused of sexual assault, and he's his producer now. And so Tucker Carlson's top producer left Fox News along with Tucker to work on his show, independent show, is accused of sexually assaulting a former colleague in an alleged incident that occurred more than a decade ago. Andrew Delancey filed the lawsuit against Justin Wells, the former producer of Tucker Carlson Tonight, accusing him of sexual assault and harassment in 2008 when Delancey moved to New York for a job with Fox News. So anyway, people are saying maybe that's why he did it. That's all I can say. Okay. All right. Do you want to see? Let's see what I have. Oh, this dark horse, this Trojan horse candidate. This is a theory thrown out by Vivek that they're going to throw in that it's that Trump isn't going to be allowed to run feel like he's saying Biden isn't going to be allowed to run either, and that it's not going to be Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. Yeah, they're going to get rid of Joe Biden. They're not going to let Trump run, and they're going to drop in somebody who's not Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. And they didn't say who he's talking about. I think it's easy enough to figure out what he means by it. He tweeted this. It's clear the puppet masters have lost their use for Biden and are slowly sidelining him. But the real trick is who they're propping up instead. It's not Gavin or Michelle, as I'd assumed before. It's far more insidious. Open your eyes, folks. It's staring us right in the face. Okay, so now I'll play this video.
It's good to see you guys. What did you mean on social media when you said that they're not going to, they're going to take Biden out? It's not going to be Newsom.
This is a longer story. It takes a dark turn, but I think I have a good sense of what's going to happen here.
Okay.
They're leading into a trap. They're not going to let Trump get anywhere near the White House. They're not going to let him.
What about?
So the goal is, have him be the nominee, and by hell or high water, one way or another, they're not going to have him. They're not going to let him.
What about the other two?
It's not them.
Who is it?
It's within our own party.
Okay. It's within our own party.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Hey, look at the people who voted to keep Trump off the ballot. Who are they putting up? Who are lawsuits to keep him off the ballot? Larry Fink to Reid Hoffman. Who are they propping up? So it's a game. And I'm in this to make sure that doesn't happen. They want it to be a 2-horse race, eliminate him, put up actually the Trojan horse within the Republican Party that keeps the war machine humming and keeps the restrictions on speech and the censorship agenda. Get it done. Who needs Democrats when you can get it done through the Republican Party? So you do the math. You do the math on that. That's what's coming.
Hey, thanks again for taking my question.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
And I appreciate your candor.
Thank you. Yeah, we're not going to touch.
There you go. That's a TikTok clip of him talking to somebody. I think it's relatively clear who he's talking about. I think he's talking about Nikki Haley, because she's the one, she supported censorship. And he was saying, well, that's my best guess. He said within his own party, how many people are there? Could be Nikki, could be Ron. I know them on a first name basis, so I can say that. Now, it could be Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis, but it sounds like Nikki Haley. She's the one who's getting support from these billionaires and stuff. So sounds like that's what he's trying to say, is that's going to be the Trojan horse candidate. So I could give you more I have like a really, really long Vivek clip. When I say really, really, it's like 9 minutes long, where somebody asks him about LGBTQ issues. And by the end, he gets a fist bump from the person. But let me save it. I'll just see how we're doing on time and stuff. So do you want an electric car? I saw a few articles about electric cars today. First of all, they have very poor resale value, which means maybe they're you have to decide if it's a bargain for you to get one, if you can get one used for really cheap. But apparently they really fall in resale value. They're not environmentally friendly overall. And of course you have those mines where it's just kids dying every day, digging up lithium or whatever it is they have to get out of the ground. Cobalt, isn't it? It's the cobalt mines, right? Those are the really bad ones. Yeah, I think that's it. So it's not necessarily good for the environment or for humanity. But how about this? You have an electric car made by Ford in this case, which this driver got a warning that because an update didn't go through, that they can't drive. So it says to call customer service. So it says because a new operating system update was not successful, that the car is totally inoperable. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty funny story. Just shows you what the future holds for these cars that are run by computers. I think eventually we're going to get to these self-driving cars, and they'll be very common. The race is between Tesla and Google, I believe, for the best technology. Tesla is doing the most real world testing because they're letting people run it in their cars and die. But overall, it should be safer than people getting behind the wheel and driving, because people are not trustworthy either. Now, I know people are worried about robots, but people aren't very good drivers either. So anyway, electric vehicles not really catching on. They're apparently sitting on lots. So, all right, we have a misgendering. All right, let's see what I have total to give you guys. Some stuff on immigration. There was a hate crime. Okay, if you heard, this is just an important update. You might have heard that there was a black guy that stabbed a couple white girls in Grand Central Station and said he wanted to kill all the white people, apparently. And even so, people are saying, oh, he's not even going to be accused of a hate crime. He has been. So just want to share that. There's the guy. Oh, you could see his face there. So he has actually been charged with a hate crime because he said he wanted to sit around the crackers, apparently. And he also told a worker, I don't want the white man to get at you. So because of the racial slurs and stuff, because he said crackers, and because apparently he said he wanted to kill all white people, he actually did get accused of a hate crime. Hate crime charges have been filed in the Christmas Day stabbing of two white tourists, 14 and 16 years old. So, yeah, sometimes people assume things are like, oh, they're not even going to call it, or the media's not going to report on it or what have you. But this is from NBC News. So the media does report on this stuff. Just doesn't go as viral as when, Twitter influencers post about stuff. So they did report on it, though. Christmas Day stabbing. Yeah, he stabbed a 14 and a 16-year-old. After saying, it doesn't say in this article, but other people have said that he said he wanted to kill all white people. All right, so there's that. This is a story that happened over the holidays, a little misgendering incident. So I'll play that.
And what about when adults employ misgenders you intentionally?
While he's talking, you're talking.
You just misgendered me again.
Okay.
Multiple times.
Gotcha.
Both of you have.
Sorry. Wasn't intentional, but if you want to take it personal, that's also.
Well, she did do it intentionally twice.
You're talking to me too.
You said she and then you said he.
You're being condescending, and if you want to continue, I have Port Authority escort you out the building right this moment. If you want to play that game with me.
Okay.
Would you like to continue 3 days before Christmas? I really don't mind.
I'm good. I'll just put this on. And what about when adults employ?
So apparently that's some sort of semi-famous transgender person who looks male in the video I saw of him, or whatever preferred pronoun they want to use. So that person was apparently friends with Dylan Mulvaney, and wanted to shame this employee, but the employee came off looking pretty professional. So that's that. Let me see. This is a long clip. I have more news that's kind of transgender LGBTQ with this clip from Vivek. So why don't I show? I'm looking through my news just to see what I have to. I'm going to save that still. James O'Keefe has a new leak while we're on racial, gender issues. When's Hollywood going to come out with a movie making fun of transgender people? That's when we'll know something happened. When is Hollywood going to do that? They're probably not going to, but they probably have in the past. I mean, there probably have been movies that made fun of transgender people in the past. That was always the thing to do, I guess. But to see something more recent dealing with the LGBTQ plus like crisis in kids, we'll have to see when that happens. So this is a DEI thing. James O'Keefe got another leak. Discriminatory hiring practices at Sanofi, which is a big pharma company, Sanofi or Sanofi, I don't know. Let me play the intro to it.
How do you, Carol, hold your leadership team accountable to diversity goals?
For instance, for Black employees, 1 in 5 hires needs to be a Black employee for us to meet our goals. 1 in 10 has to be a Latinx employee for us to meet our goals. You know, we have quarterly goals, and we track them with data. And so far, we've met our goals every quarter since we've rolled out the aspiration.
Their whole goal is to advance racial equity through public policy. So talk about taking on racism. We believe that it's not just at the company level, but it's got to be changed systemically. And this is an opportunity to do so through this very concentrated business focus.
There you go.
Hello, everyone. James Oak.
So I think that showed it to him. There he is. Oh, wow. He's wearing bulletproof vest. Interesting. I guess that's the way he has to go out nowadays. So that's a new James O'Keefe. Yeah, those are discriminatory. I mean, think about it. It's the same as saying, oh, we can't hire too many white people. So yeah, that's crazy. And I think it's discriminatory. I think people would have lawsuits for that. So it's good that James is finding that stuff. He's coming back on the scene with some good stories. Those are some good stories, very worthwhile stories about discriminatory practices in hiring. So that's a new James O'Keefe video. All right, let's see. I hope people file lawsuits in that case. Immigration, check it out. Fetterman is being weird. Fetterman is saying a bunch of things that are more populist, basically. So let me show you that. This is a very short clip, but he just says it's not xenophobic to question immigration when there's this many people coming through the border. So here, I'll play that for you.
If you look at the numbers, it's almost 270,000 encounters, and that's a lot. It's not xenophobic to have a conversation about border security.
There you go.
If you look at
So that's John Fetterman's take. Robert F. Kennedy, we're about to set a record, apparently, that we've already had more than 250,000 encounters in the month of December, which means it's on pace to break the previous record, which was set in September of 269,000. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says, border situation rapidly worsening under Biden's watch. Who benefits from this chaos? Not the border towns, our cities, or our workers, not even the migrants themselves, only the cartels. Right now, the first step toward resolving this humanitarian crisis is to seal the border, all caps. Seal the border. So that's what RFK says. See if you think this is real. See if you think this is real. Speaking of mass immigration and migration, I mean, we got to do something. And then I see they saw through the border they have power saws. Then they, even where there's a fence, they're cutting through the fence, I saw. And politicians can't agree on anything for how to solve the migration problem. But man, we're just going to be we're just getting flooded, totally flooded with immigrants right now. See if you think this is real or a hoax. See if you think this is real or a hoax. This is apparently Welsh. This is apparently an ad for migrants in Wales. All right.
Shemai. Hello and welcome to Wales. We understand being a refugee isn't easy. They go through so much. Fleeing your country is difficult, but Wales wants to help you feel welcome. The Welsh Refugee Council is here to help you. You can contact them here. Wales is seen as a nation of sanctuary. We welcome anyone and everyone. We recognise your skills and talent. The Welsh Refugee Council offers a lot to support, including
ESOL classes, which means English for Speakers for Other Languages. It may be hard to learn our language, so we offer support. Employment. You may feel stressed about employment, but we can help. They help you to apply for bank accounts, child benefits, and they can help with housing. It's very important to have a warm place that you can call home. Education. Children have the right to education. Play for children. We know how important it is for children to socialise. Help finding doctors. It's extremely important to have healthcare.
Not only this, but Wales offers free education and healthcare.
There are many job opportunities here in Wales. IKEA works closely with the Welsh Refugee Council, providing jobs for refugees that come from all over the world.
On the screen now are some basic Welsh phrases.
Shemai.
Hello.
Broda.
Good morning.
Prenanda.
Good afternoon.
Nosta.
Good night.
Sut wyt ti?
How are you?
We understand that you've been through a lot, and that is why the Welsh Refugee Council is here to help you.
Thank you for listening.
I mean, it's very amateur. It's a very amateur video. Maybe some kids really made it. Maybe the kids made it because it was such bad quality, and maybe you couldn't even hear the sound. But I don't know. In the tweet, it says Wales is using little girls to encourage migrants to move to Wales and claim benefits and housings. I don't know. It's something that the kids might have made as a project. That's what I'm thinking. Who knows? But it wasn't well produced enough to be made by the government. The government spends a lot of money on things. You want to hear how kids are crazy? I'll play you that. They say that Generation Alpha, I guess that's the new generation that's in schools, younger people. Cadence Film says the scary part is that migrants are probably after girls that age. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, possibly. So, not to say all of them are, but you don't want to attract the ones that are. I guess that's the point. You don't want to attract the ones that are into young girls by putting out a video that says they're welcome there. So anyway, that's what that is. It looks like a school project to me. That's what it looks like. Okay, let me show you this. This is someone saying like Gen Alpha kids, new kids coming up now are not cool. So I'll play that. I won't play the whole thing.
Young Gen Z teachers are talking about the poor behavior of Gen Alpha students, and some of y'all are finally starting to believe us when it comes to how much we've missed the mark on raising these kids right. Because I have gray in my hair and I'm 36 years old, people tend to tune me out as soon as I open my mouth when I start talking about these issues we're seeing in the classroom with our kids these days. So before I go on, why don't we review some of the evidence from some of the other creators on this app who might be a little bit more of a relatable age.
This is my folder of crying teachers, and they are confused and frightened by the behavior of Gen Alpha. They're saying Gen Alpha is defiant, aggressive, disrespectful, and rude.
Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates. You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom.
Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are, I'm going to just say this. I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level.
I'm a middle school teacher. I'm also 22 years old. And I will tell you, by far, we are doomed. Like, these kids do not care. Like, I have kids, all they want to do all day long is get high. Like,
I need to ask millennials, why are your kids so awful? And more importantly, why do you think it's so funny? Your kids cannot read. They cannot write. They are ill-mannered.
I've been trying to sound the alarm about Gen Alpha students and their poor behavior in their classrooms, as well as their illiteracy
There
problems.
you go. So there's a bunch of clips. People saying to the kids, what's up with the kids these days? What's wrong with the kids these days? That's what they're always saying. But I'm sure these kids are bad too. I just want to remind you, I've been through time, and they always say the kids are crazy. But in particular, they could totally be right. That in particular, these kids are getting worse. I don't know. I just have to blame the cell phone for everything. The iPhone. Just the way information is delivered nowadays. So But Censor Mom says because of the Zoom, public school, and masks. Well, they were saying some people want to blame it on COVID lockdowns, but it's beyond that. They're saying it's beyond just being able to blame it just on the COVID lockdowns. But yeah, COVID lockdowns weren't good. Fat person died in less expected news. There is a fat body positive. Large. What are you supposed to say instead of? I mean, I don't know. What are you supposed to say instead of fat? That is a body positive influencer on TikTok, and who finally warned her fans, and she died at 28 years old. This was one of her last messages. This person looks like they had trouble getting around. So
I ruined my life with food, binge eating, and lack of self-care. And I'm hoping that it's not too late for me this time. I ain't been to the store in 2 years, maybe more now, I guess. I went to the post office once and that was hard. I went to urgent care and I thought my legs were going to give out from under me because I had to stand there the entire time after walking in. I kept just looking back at the chair and just praying that I could just make it another second until she was done with me. I couldn't even probably go check the mail right now. Between, the growth I have in my fupa, so not my apron, but my pelvic region, it's about 30, 40 pounds now.
that's crazy. They have different names for roles of fat. Like you have an apron of fat, and then you have something underneath that of fat. That's really disturbing. It is not healthy. You want to be healthy so that the time you have here, even though it's not going to be forever, so that's as enjoyable as possible. Go on walks. You know what they say for extending life and stuff? Going on walks is about the best thing you can do. Although playing tennis or pickleball now are also good for you. So they say playing tennis is actually the longest life extender. That's enough of that. She died. Tragically. California, we have a $20 minimum wage now. Pizza Hut, few major Pizza Hut operators in California are laying off all of their in-house delivery drivers. That could have to do with the $20 minimum wage, but also has to do with DoorDash. DoorDash is probably more efficient. So they'll still deliver pizzas. They'll just use a third-party service. So they'll still have to pay. They just decided it was cheaper than paying $20 minimum wage to pay for deliveries one at a time through a delivery service. So otherwise, they probably have too much idle time. But that's just a story of California. $20 minimum wage is going to effect soon. So those are drivers who will no longer have a job at Pizza Hut, but they might have a job with DoorDash or something like that. So, all right, there is that. They're planning to do a $2,000 minimum wage, basic income in Canada. I want to tell you about that. They're planning to do a $2,000 per month minimum wage, whether you work or not. I'll play a clip about it. So that's universal basic income, which is basically like communism, pretty much. It doesn't work. It'll just make things more expensive. I mean, somebody has to generate the income somehow. So it's just going to make things more expensive. But yeah, they're proposing a bill. So I'll play a clip about it.
Universal basic income is coming to Canada. Will the US be next? I've been warning of a UBI, universal basic income, for a while now, since that is where we are in the fall of Rome sequence. Recently, Canada's left-wing Liberals proposed just such a scheme, dubbed the, quote, guaranteed livable basic income. Lest one think it's just the Liberals who've gone mad, Canada's Conservative Party deputy leader then spoke warmly of it, saying Conservatives should, quote, own it. So, in all likelihood, it's coming. First off, what is a UBI? The idea is to give everybody just enough to get by whether or not they work. A typical number might be $1,000 per month. Supporters claim people will still work, which is hilarious. More on that in a moment. And many conservatives, such as the deputy leader, have been suckered with promises that it will replace the existing welfare state, which of course is a lie. New welfare schemes are often sold that way, including the EITC here in the US, which was sold as a negative income tax that would replace welfare as we know it. But of course, that never happened. The extra trillions just went on top because it turns out that handing free money is like salting a soup. It's easy to add, it's very, very hard to take away. Beyond the bait and switch, why is a UBI so bad? Partly because the cost is raid the treasury level, so perhaps $3 trillion per year in the US, but mostly because it would radically expand our growing army of permanently unemployed couch surfing parasites who do little work beyond voting for more welfare. To see why, consider two similar phenomena today: unemployment benefits and pensions. A few years ago, the New York Times put out a major time use survey, finding that while full time workers spend 5 hours a day at work, unemployed people on benefits spend just 30 minutes a day looking for work. So, how do they spend the other 4.5 hours? Watching TV, napping, surfing the internet, playing games, and hanging out with their girlfriend. So, that's a 90% drop in work. We've got similar numbers from retirement. Once Americans hit that magic 65 line, the Bureau of Labor Statistics tallied up the number of seniors working. That came out to 8% working full-time, 7% working part-time, which compares to 63% of the general population. So in that case, it's an 80% drop. Beyond the extortionate taxes on the few who still would work, the main victims would be the young, who will be bribed out of entry-level jobs, ushered into a life of quasi-poverty, doing nothing, having nothing, and complaining about it on TikTok. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. Vote buying has been popular since at least the Roman Empire, who put the bread in bread and circuses, and it's driven the country to ruin since at least the Roman Empire. But the political calculus is irresistible. All those millions of juicy votes. Now, COVID was the test case in Canada and in many other countries, and the next recession, you can be sure they will push it hard here in America. As for long-suffering Canadians, it looks like it will get worse before it gets better. Okay, we'll be watching.
See, it showed all his ads. You guessed who it was. It's Peter Stonge, Professor Stonge. I played clips from him. He talks, he's reasonable, and then he's sponsored by somebody, so I ran the sponsorship to Unchained. That's for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's doing okay. It's still just steady, 43,000. Commercial real estate is collapsing. That's the next shoe to drop, possibly. Downtown Los Angeles office building that sold for $92 million in 2018 just sold for $44 million. 2 days ago, the Aon Center, Los Angeles's third largest building, sold for 45% less than its last purchase price in 2014. So there's stories about how office real estate is really crashing, and that could be responsible for a future crash. So speaking of socialism, how does socialism work? I have a video about that. This is how socialism works. Okay.
Let me tell you a scary story. An economics professor at a local college made a statement that she had never failed a single student before, but had recently failed an entire class. The class had insisted that socialism worked, that no one would be poor and no one would be rich, a great equalizer. The professor then said, okay, we will have an experiment in this class. All grades will be averaged and everyone will receive the same grade. No one will fail, but no one will receive an A either. After the first test, the grades were averaged and everyone got a B. The students who studied hard were upset, and the students who studied little were happy. As the second test rolled round, the students who studied little studied even less, and the ones who studied hard decided they wanted a free ride too, so they studied little. The second average test result was a D. No one was happy. When the third test rolled round, the average was an F. As the test proceeded, the scores never improved. As bickering, name-calling and blame all resulted in hard feelings, and no one would study for the benefit of anyone else. To their great surprise, all failed. And the professor told them that socialism would ultimately fail, because when the reward is great, the effort to succeed is great. But when the government takes away all the reward, no one will try or want to succeed. And that is socialism, my friends. A race to the bottom.
There you go. There's a famous TikTok video. So that is what socialism does. Yeah, I'm scared of universal basic income. I mean, I realize AI is going to replace a lot of jobs, but okay. I'll save that longer clip from Vivek. I got in almost an hour a day. We have 105 people tuned in. Is there anything else you'd like me to talk about today? You can have a second. I can play some music. Let me see. Oh, Tucker has visited Julian Assange. So that's coming out. I could have played a Tucker Carlson clip. Here's a guy that says, nah, that's all right. I don't need to play that either. We've done a good show. Thanks everybody for joining me. Do you have anything else you'd like to hear about? You have a moment to ask me a question. I can do an AMA for a second. Oh, I can show you guys Bitcoin. Solana's down a little bit today, but I think that's okay. Now it's dipping. So cryptocurrency, Ethereum was way up today. Bitcoin's around 43,000. There might be a dip happening right now because I see a dip in Solana. No, Bitcoin's going up. So people are selling Solana to get Bitcoin maybe. Bitcoin's at 43.4 now. So yeah, definitely if you want to get some cryptocurrency, you can get in touch with me. Oh, I said read my Buy Me a Coffees. Let me go to that. So Cutler 331 bought 14 coffees. We talked on the phone last week, a little consultation basically about cryptocurrency and stuff. If you want to consult about crypto, if you don't know what you're doing, you can reach me at 650-429-8294. 650-GAY-TAXI is the number. You can text me at that number, or you can message me on Twitter. My DMs are open at lifttheveil411. Spaldo bought 3 coffees on the last show. Thank you for that. This is at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, which is this here. Spaldo bought 3 coffees and said, Hoax Wars this Friday night, annual Christmas party. Yes, I missed reading that on the last show, but thank you, Spaldo, for the 3 coffees. I really appreciate it. And I don't have any super chats this show. Roxy W says, did marijuana help with anxiety? Does marijuana help with anxiety? It can do either one. It might help. You'd have to experiment with it and see what it does. Well, I'm sorry. Consult your marijuana physician. It can, but it can also cause anxiety. So in my experience, so you have to be careful with the dose, how you're consuming it, whether you're smoking it, whether you're ingesting it. But since you asked, did it help me? That's what I said. So sometimes yes, and sometimes no. And in large quantities, I wouldn't want to mess with it. If I were going to consume cannabis, I would do it in small doses, ingested. But I can't give medical advice or anything. So did it help me? Yes, sometimes it did. Thanks, Roxy. Yeah, sometimes it did help me. Thanks for that. So that was my one AMA question. We're at 59 minutes. We got 99 people tuned in, 5909. Okay, we'll wrap it up. I accept get your clothes at truthclothing.io. Everything's on sale with the code Mary25. Donate at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil or cash tag LTV411 $LTV. Ms. Hayes says, did I see the story about a robot attacking a worker at a Tesla factory? Yes, but it was just an automated machine. It wasn't a robot. So yes, thank you for asking. There is a story about a robot, and apparently it happened in 2021, and it's just being recycled now. So it wasn't one of his Optimus robots that looks like a human. It was just on the assembly lines, they've had robots forever. So it was a robot that did an assembly line job, that ended up pinning a human down. And apparently the story is from 2021. Yeah, it is weird how they called it an attack. I think that was a what do you call it? Just a headline, just to grab people's attention. Clickbait. I think it's a little bit of a clickbait thing from my research. That it was an assembly line robot and it wasn't one of the Optimus robots and it didn't intentionally attack a person. It just malfunctioned. So, all right, cool. So I did get a few questions. That's good. I'll see if there are any more. I watch Cryptos R Us where he does Q&A for like half the show. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the show. We'll see you at the next one. Maybe I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. If the stars align. For now, that's what it is.